Someone asks you what you want and you have absolutely no idea how to answer the question. Or you respond with vague abstracts like peace, financial freedom, to be happy, healthy, and whole. But that isn't tangible, is it? You can't chase down peace. And happiness means something different to everyone. So today I'm going to ask you plainly, what do you want? And don't worry, most people can't answer the question when I ask, but let me tell you why it's not a bad thing yet. Because it's in the not knowing that you're finally inviting yourself to have the honest conversation you've likely been avoiding. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 3 lessons from my last reset that finally helped me understand what the not knowing was actually telling me. And the last one is where the magic happens. So watch to the end. Now, when I closed my invention business, I have been building things for other people for nearly a decade. And that work mattered to me. I helped people bring ideas to life. I was good at it. Well, who am I kidding? I was exceptional at it. I knew how to sit across from a client who had a dream and absolutely no roadmap and help them find the shape of it, name it, build it into something real. In fact, I could sketch the entire product and process in my head in less than 90 seconds. I knew how to ask the right questions. I knew how to hold the vision when someone else could not hold it for themselves. And then last September, I decided to walk away from it all. I woke up one morning and said enough. And it's not because the business stopped working. In fact, I still have people emailing me daily to help them with their ideas. I stopped because I was done. I just didn't want to do it anymore. It wasn't what I wanted. Now, I didn't immediately leave that business and start this one. In fact, it was the exact opposite because I didn't want to work with people anymore, or so I thought. So I set out to buy my first laundromat. After all, dryers don't talk back when you're trying to help them or blame you for their inaction. Yes, I'm projecting, but I promise this is going somewhere. And I remember the first few weeks after I made the decision official, the calendar cleared out, my inbox got quiet, and I sat in my house and waited to feel something other than disoriented. And then the first laundromat deal fell through, and then the second, and then the third, and your girl's ego was taking a real hit. So I took a break from my acquisition plan, and I kept thinking, I will know what comes next. I have always known what comes next. I am the person who figures things out. But the more I pushed for an answer, the further it got away. I would sit down and think about what I wanted to build and come up empty. I would look at opportunities and feel absolutely nothing. I would ask myself the same questions I used to ask clients and realize I did not know how to answer them for myself. So I did what any other responsible adult will do in this instance. I binge watched the entire season of Scandal again. But it was in the stillness that the answers started to come. And honestly, this wasn't my first time here. A few years before that, my daughter went to college and the house just stopped. The noise, the motion, all of it. I didn't expect that transition to hit me the way it did. I had been a mom with a business and a full life for so long that I didn't realize how much of my sense of direction was organized around being needed by her. And when that need let up, I let up too. But I made the mistake of thinking that meant something was wrong. What I understand now is that both of those moments were the same experience. I had spent so long building things for other people, orienting my energy around what they needed, that I had completely lost track of my own desire. And it's not because I didn't have any, but because I never really made it the question. I had been performing desires for years, wanting what made sense, what was responsible, what fit the story I was telling myself about who I was supposed to be. And underneath all of that, my actual wants had been buried for so long that I stopped hearing them. And here's what I realized. The not knowing wasn't a failure. It was the first honest signal I'd gotten in a long time. And that's where the lessons start. Lesson 1. I had to learn the hard way that desire does not come back through force. When I pushed for answers, I got more silence. When I tried to logic my way to a vision, I got a list of things that sounded reasonable but felt hollow. The more I treated not knowing as a problem to solve, the longer it lasted. And what shifted was small and almost embarrassing, honestly, in how simple it was. I stopped asking myself what I wanted to do and started asking myself what I was drawn to, what I kept coming back to, what made me feel slightly more alive than the thing before it. And we're not talking big visions, but small signals, the conversations that left me energized instead of drained, the idea I found myself thinking about in the shower, the thing I almost did but talked myself out of because it seemed impractical. Those small signals are the beginning. And they may not be the full picture yet, but they are real and they are yours and they are telling you something if you will slow down enough to listen. For me, all of those pointed to walking women through resets. And here we are. Lesson 2. You have been trained out of your own desires. Look, if you are the one people call when things fall apart, if you are the one who already knows what everyone needs before they ask, I want you to hear something. That did not happen by accident. You were taught that and you were rewarded for that. And it worked for a very, very long time. It really worked. But here's what I want you to hear right now. The system you were running on was built around being useful, not around being fulfilled. And those are two very different things. At some point, you woke up and realized you had no idea what you actually wanted because you had never made it the central question. Getting that access back takes time, and it takes sitting with not knowing longer than is comfortable, which is hard when you're used to being decisive. But the women I watch go through this, the ones who stay in the discomfort instead of running from it, they came out on the other side with something real. And it wasn't a rebuilt version of the old life, but the one that actually fits the life they've always imagined. And this last lesson, again, is where the magic happens. Lesson 3. The gap is not the problem. The gap is the work. Right now, you are in the space between who you were and who you are becoming. The old identity has started to release, which means you can't go back to it for direction. But the new one hasn't taken full shape yet, which means you can't borrow from it either. You're in the middle. And the middle is the hardest place to stand. But it's also where you find out what is actually true about yourself. Because in that space, with no role to maintain and nothing to perform, the things that matter start to surface slowly and not all at once, but they surface. And your job right now is just to stay in it. Stop trying to shortcut past the not knowing and let it show you what it came to show you. You didn't lose yourself. You just outgrew the version you were performing. And there's a difference. Now, here is what I want you to leave this video knowing. The women who come out of this season with something real are not the ones who figured it out the fastest. They are the ones who gave themselves permission to not know for a little while and stay curious about what was coming instead of terrified about what was gone. And that is available to you right now, exactly where you are. You don't have to have it figured out. You just have to stay. And the answer will come to you. That's a promise. After all, I'm living proof. And if you are in this season and you want a starting point, I made a free reset guide exactly for this moment. The link is in the description and it's a place to begin. Now, in the next video in this series, we're going to talk about what happens when you keep waiting to feel ready before you move, because I want you to know the certainty you're waiting for is not coming the way you think it is. Subscribe so you don't miss it when it drops, and I'll see you there.